Vanessa Eileen Thompson, From Minneapolis to Dessau, From Moria to Tripoli, From the shores to the land and the sea, Global Geographies of Abolition. Struggles for breathing as struggles for life worlds. Global uprisings of 2020 and their aftermath stand in relation to abolitionist and anti-colonial struggles globally. The expansion of carcerality in neoliberal racial gendered capitalism has made policing, prisons, detention centers, and borders key sites of abolitionist struggles. It is not only about abolishing prisons, borders, and police. It is about reconstructing the world. Black reconstruction, as W.E.B. Du Bois reminds us, was also the struggle for socialism of the dark proletariat, the general strike, as was and is the Quilombo, the maroon communities. Not so much because of their resistance, but because they worked towards the reorganization of labor, social relations, and land collectively. Abolition, as the radical transformation of modes of production, institutions, and systems that brought about the destruction of the earth and the wretched in the first place, is a life-flourishing possibility, as Ruth Wilson Gilmore reminds us. Abolition breathes life into the world, the earth, humans and non-humans. Black political struggles as struggles for life are part of a broader abolitionist project and geography. The anti-police protest struggles against borders, the largest strike in history in India, women's strikes and protests for reproductive justice, feminist mobilizations for feminist COVID-19 economic recovery plans, indigenous water protectors and land defenders in Turtle Island, as well as on the African continent and in the Caribbean. All these struggles are struggles for breath, in more than one sense of the word. And they are brought to being through the tireless, often invisibilized labor by women, trans and non-binary folks. Care work is the basis of each abolitionist and anti-colonial campaign, rebellion and revolution. Care work provides the reproductive ground on which resistance is made possible. The Collective Women in Exile, a self-organized feminist refugee group in Germany that struggles for the abolition of lagers and against intra-community violence in the larger system, explains that abolitionist work is only possible through staying in relation, through caring for each other in the everyday. We also work on relationships in our struggles. A foundational aspect of abolition is realized not only through making this labor more visible, but through redistributing this labor and moving beyond the romanticization of feminized and too often devalued labor. Let's not romanticize it, but collectivize it. When talking about abolitionist practices, members of Women in Exile, as well as other self-organized refugee groups, explain that their work draws on the feminist practices and alternatives that are lived in many contexts of the African continent, such as the collectivizations of funds and resources on the basis of tontine, as well as community accountability when harm is committed. During another conversation on transnational feminism, an African feminist participant shared with me that a robbery just happened in the village where she lives, close to the Gambia River. The community not only mobilized to support the affected family, but furthermore engaged with the group towards accountability and held collective meetings to further struggle for structural transformation with regard to mobilizations against poverty. Variations of community accountability and transformative justice are not limited to the US or parts of Europe. They are linked through the roots of abolition. Cedric Robinson reminds us that transatlantic enslavement not only contained cargoes of labors, but especially African cultures, concepts, practices, archives, and languages that shaped revolutions and resistances. Abolitionist practices and futures that are red, green, and international, as Ruth Wilson Gilmore argues, continue to shape the roots from enslavement to colonialism, to migration and border regimes, despite the different forms of production of surplus in the current conjunctures of racial gendered capitalism. They also flow through the practices of caring for and with the world, as seen in grassroots groups such as the Wretched of the Earth in the UK, We Are the Solution campaign run by African women farmers and agricultural workers in Burkina Faso, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, and Senegal, to the Black youth climate activists in the Black diaspora. They show that breathing is so much more than ventilation. It is the relational process that makes life possible, in many senses of the word.